Year he. It's your girl Cassie King, and I'm coming to you live and in color, honey. Go on ahead and grab your snacks, some drinks, and some snuggy wuggies, because we are going to be picking up where we left off on at our last Bible tea party. I believe we had Friday. So if you did miss that and you want to do some catching up, then you can always head over to my YouTube. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you have a short attention span, you can head over to my TikTok, and I give you guys some really great clips and sneak peeks on what the Bible Tea Party is all about. And so, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to give you guys some time to come on in, and then we'll get started and do a quick recap and pick up where we left off. Sounds good? Okay. So first things first, I did want to let you guys know, wherever you guys are seeing this, I pray for all of my viewers, all of my supporters. Thank you guys so much for coming in and supporting me. If you bless me, the Lord will surely bless you. But I did have some difficulty coming in today because I was just having an issue. Like, makeup wasn't coming out right. I couldn't find stuff. I kept getting interrupted. Then I had was trying to get mic'd up. Mike was acting weird. So we was having some battles with the enemy. But guess what? We had to dog him per usual. Okay, so thank you guys so much for coming in today. We will be getting started in just a moment. I'm gonna let some of my babies come in because I did come quite late for some of my other viewers. So hopefully they didn't think I flaked on them. I am always going to be on CP time. So if I give a certain time scheduled to come in, just going ahead and assume I'll be late at this point. I'm usually really good with my time management, child, but today I was just having a bit of a difficult time. I had to make coffee, and then wasn't able to get the makeup right. Then I couldn't find a lot of stuff every time I was trying to get everything done. I kept misplacing things, and I'm usually a really organized person. So thank you guys so much for bearing with me on that, and I do apologize for the delay. But going ahead, we'll get you guys pulled in over here again. If you are a new viewer, we're going to go ahead and get into some tea on what we last discussed. Today we're going to have our Bible tea party, and then of course we will give one of our beautiful heroes a shout out for Black History Month as well at the end of today's gathering. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to pray. Lord, bless your word. Allow us to come together as a community, all shapes, forms, and sizes, and pray that everyone is able to receive the word and be blessed by receiving what we're going to be discussing today in such a unique and original way. And thank you guys for coming in the name of the Lord. Amen. Amen. All right, so first things first, we'll go ahead and get started with our recap, right? So, thank you so much, baby. So, we're going to be going over what we discussed with last Bible Tea Party. I want to go over a quick recap, what we discussed on the ads, okay? So, obviously, when we were first getting on to meeting our new leader for the Israelites, we were kind of sad because it was simple fact of the matter that Moses was no longer with us. So we was getting into that tea with Joshua, and I was like, I don't know if Joshua, because I got a little attached to Moses. I didn't know if Joshua was gonna eat. Then Joshua come in, and he ain't come to play. No. Joshua did not come to play. He was slaying kings back to back, and he even had his foot on their neck, quite literally. Okay. So we were able to discuss how he had his soldier's foot on the king's neck, literally, and how he was just bodying everything that he needed to body, everyone he needed to body because of the journey that right now we're on. We want to get the Israelites to the land of Canaan, in which God promised Abraham long time ago. So now we have a lot of their descendants and great grandkids, and we got a youngin by the name of Joshua who is picking up the baton left by Moses. Good thing is that Moses was his mentor. So he definitely had a double OG, really putting him on game on how to do what we need to do to survive certain the wars that they were going to be able to face on a daily basis. Because again, it's not just about the actual war that's happening on the ground. It was a lot of warfare with the individuals battling with being materialistic. Some of them were honest. There was a lot of people being deceiving and things like that. So Joshua, he is very, very strategic in how he is going into war. And he was also a man of honor as well. So if you guys are new here, you definitely want to go to my YouTube and kind of catch up because we did get through a lot of information. But the reason I say that is because when the Israelites were coming in, child, they were given the commandments by Moses, right? So one of the commandments that are standing out a lot on the book of Joshua that I've noticed, and we'll be doing highlights before we move on into this second chapter as well. So, um, one of the commandments is basically sticking to your word. If you tell somebody you're gonna do something, you need to do it because the Father Lord will surely punish you, right? So Joshua was deceived at one point by one of the ops who act like they were these homeless people who travel from wherever the hell they said they was traveling from, but child, they was lying. And so Joshua was like, oh, okay, well, we ain't gonna do nothing to you or your people. And then come to find out they were lying. So they were not they were able to finesse their situation from being unalive because during this time they were at war with everybody that was not an Israelite, and they were winning, obviously. So that's that on that. And then there was so we were able to see Joshua replicate the split sea that Moses did, but this time it was the Jordan River that dried up. Yes, yes, yes. And how they were able to do it, it was through the covenant box with the priest that we have now, and a number of other things that they had to do for God to honor that miracle. So we were able to see how they were doing that. We also were able to understand why certain stones are on certain hills in certain locations of this region of the world. And it is due to the fact that Joshua was with the Beninites. Okay. He was doing his big win. So we're going to be catching that from there. Also, another interesting fact was one of the women in the story. Well, I am going to be going into her story a little bit more into depth on her story at another time, which was the prostitute Rahab. Okay. And so she was able to benefit from that situation due to the fact that Joshua sent people over there in her land where they went to go spy. And so she was like, well, I already know who y'all is and who your God is, and y'all ain't come to play. So do y'all big one. But since I helped y'all, can y'all help my family? And so she was also able to be saved from the war. So a lot of the people were able to either finesse their way through, or there was a lot of people that they spared due to them willing to side with the right team. We also were able to discover how Joshua's encounters are with God. So if you guys remember, Moses was having one-on-one encounters with God on a mountain. That was usually how he used to have his one-on-ones with God, sometimes through a burning bush and things like that. And so we were able to see how Joshua was able to pick up that baton in his encounters with God, right? So with Joshua, he was approached by the captain of the Lord's army. And Joshua was like, is you gonna help us or is you a op? And then that's when he realized that that was the angel or the captain of the Lord's army. and they were able to. That's one of the ways that God has been communicating with Joshua to give him the strength and the courage that he needs to be able to do the big one. And so we were able to see that. We were also able to go through the journey on how God views the yet again another disrespectful offering situation. So in the book of Moses, we were able to tell that God don't play about his offerings. Okay. Back in those days before Jesus came, they had to do certain things for gift giving. And one of the things were burnt offerings. Okay. So now we already know the pre-son. We already know the pre-son then got unalive for doing some inappropriate fire offering. I mean, burning offering. So I don't know why this particular person, I think his name was Ashan, and Ashan decided that he wanted to keep some things for himself, because when they were going into war, they were taking everything and burning everything, because that's what God said to do, because some of those things God considered them unclean in the eyes of the Lord. Okay, so God was like, I know he ain't finna sit up there and act like I don't see that he done kept that stuff. So at some point, the Israelites, while they were on their mission and getting ready to go to war, at some point they was PC shook and ran off, and 30 something of them had got unalive. And Joshua was on his knees, child. He fell to the ground. Child, Joshua fell to that flow. He said, "Excuse me, God, now I know you lying." God said, "Boy, if you don't get your tail up off that ground, somebody stole from me. You need to figure out who it is, or ain't no winning no war." Now I told y'all Joshua didn't come to play. No, he did not come to play. He never was. He was not a playful person. Okay, so child, they went looking for whoever it was that had stole from God, because that's how God consider it. If you are supposed to give God something like an offering, now in today's time it's different, because of simple fact that we got Jesus. Ooh, where's Jesus when you need him? Mm-mm-mm. They went to find out that Ashan was stealing from God, and you already know Joshua didn't come to play. Joshua unalived that man. They had stoned that man and unalived everything he had and loved, including his family and children and wife and kids, all of them. Animals, donkey, whatever belonged to him was given to the Lord as a burnt offering. Okay, but they named that's what the Trouble Valley was named after as well, because for some reason bald heads don't know how to get their act together. Okay, so he said, yeah, he owned up to his mistakes, but back in those days, we didn't have Jesus, so he couldn't call on Jesus like we can. I calls Jesus. I calls him, I do. But poor Sean. You know what he took was some jewelry and a coat. It wasn't worth it. But anyway, so we were able to see yet again the Israelites falling short of faith and also of being materialistic. Another thing we were able to confirm is how Joshua don't play. He didn't come to play at all. Okay. So when he was unaliving kings, he had them put up on trees and until nightfall. Okay. And again, he was able to unalive 5 of them all at one time. So Joshua was never that guy to play with. He's not one of them. He's not one of them, these or thou. He sounds like he might be related to Peter. But anyway, y'all know I'm a fool. But yeah, so we went through a number of things. that's pretty much what we were able to kind of find out about Joshua, what it's giving with him, and every time we get through any chapter, we can see that Joshua ate. Now, another thing is we want to discuss is Joshua's miracles. Now we know he just split the little Jordan River and everything like that with the Lord's power, and he was very strategic. Speaking of being strategic, he was also able to utilize that situation when Sean was stealing and God had stopped helping them win that war and he ran off. When they went to go back, they was like, they gonna think we scary and we gonna start running. And then the people, he sent his other soldiers there in the land while they was running as a distraction. The land, the other Israelites was on their land tearing up the whole shop. So when the shop was shut down, and they saw that smoke in the sky, the other leaders that was pretending to run away turned around and off them too. So Joshua was very strategic, and so we were able to see his powerful leadership, and then we were also able to confirm one of the miracles he was able to produce, which was he prayed up to the sky and made the sun and the moon sit still. hmm Joshua looked up at that sky and made the sun and the moon sit still. So it's giving Moses. It's giving Moses for sure, because you remember when Moses was talking to the God, and God came down on that cloud with them trumpets, child, and everybody's like, "Who can you just tell him to talk to you?" So it's definitely given. So we are going to be picking up from that segment, and then we'll go over one of our beautiful Black kings for the sake of Black History Month. And so let me know if you guys have any questions. If not, we'll go ahead and get started. Make sure you guys got snacks for the newcomers. Y'all supposed to bring snacks, okay? I don't cook for y'all when y'all get here. I'm not doing that. I'm not your mama. Also, Joshua did pick up the tradition of circumcising all the men as well, which is also um, a form of offering to God at that time. So now we're going to pick up where Joshua he fights against the kings in the north, and as you guys are very very aware, Joshua don't play. So he was hanging stuff up on them trees, child. If you know what I mean, if you catch my drift. So when Joshua starts to fight against the kings of the north, the Lord said to Joshua, "Don't be afraid of them. This time tomorrow, they will all be unalived. I will give all of them to you, Israelites. You must cut the legs of their horses so that they cannot run well, and you must also burn their chariots." So Joshua and his whole army went to attack them at the waters of Merom. Okay, and they quickly attacked them by surprise. The Lord caused the Israelites to win against them. The Israelite soldiers chased them as far as Sidon, Mersophoth, Miam, and some other places that I cannot pronounce. So if you guys want to know where that's at, that's Joshua 11. Figure out how to pronounce it yourself. I am not your mama. Okay. And obviously, everybody was unalived by the Israelites. And so Joshua took all the cities and he unalived all the kings and he destroyed all of them as the Lord's servant Moses told him to do. Because if you guys were here at the last tea party about Moses, then you would know that Moses had put him up on game about a lot of stuff, and he was telling him what he needed to do, what it was and what it wasn't. Okay. And so Joshua kept his word. But the Israelites did not burn the cities that were built on small hills. Hezer, was the only city that Joshua did burn. But I guess certain small ones that I don't think they felt the need to. And then they wind up taking Mount Halak and pretty much just going around taking the places that they need to take on their way to the land of Canaan. Okay, so they really did it. They really did do their big one. They had, with Joshua being so strategic and such an honorable man, I was actually really surprised to see this in the book. Really, because when I was studying the Bible on my free time, I never read Joshua. I didn't think that, I didn't think it was going to give Moses. So I will always be like, well, I read, but it does get better and better. So when it comes to Joshua, he would take the entire land of everything and everyone with his army. And at this point, every time he would do his big one, people became very, very obedient towards some of the orders that he was making, and they trusted his word, and they valued him as their leader. So I was like, okay, because they sure had a lot to say about Moses. Okay, so in that way, Joshua took the whole land. The Lord had promised Moses that he would give that land to his people, and Joshua gave a part of the land to each tribe for them to live in. And after that, the people did not have to fight anymore. So the land that Moses took on the east side of the Jordan River is going to be in Joshua 12 on how that took place, and as well as the west side of Jordan River. So if you guys want to go in, if you're a researcher and you want to know the land that Moses took on the east side and the land that Joshua took on the west side, you can go on ahead and take a look into that. And it pretty much goes into quite big detail on what tribe went where and everything like that. Um, Joshua became very old at this point. So the Lord said to him, "You are now very old." He said, "There is still a lot of land that you have not yet taken, and this land is left for you to take." So now he getting up there in age. I did want to say something really quickly with Moses. Moses started off in his 80s. So Joshua started off in his 40s. So that gives you an idea of how long this man led the Israelites through war successfully. Okay. So basically, God was telling him, you need to be able to enjoy your blessings because you are getting, you're getting up there in age. You're turning into a senior citizen. Okay. So it goes into detail on how that went down in Joshua 13. Definitely want to go over that because you'll be able to see who received what tribes received what, and why. And that is very important when we go into other books of the Bible so that you can know who these people are and why they think the way they think and why they act the way that they act. Okay. Levi's tribe, if you don't know who Levi is, Levi is Joseph's brother, which is Levi's tribe, is his descendants. Okay, and that's why you guys got to head over to my YouTube or my TikTok because you'll be able to see some of this and kind of catch up if you are a newcomer. Okay, so Moses had given no land to the tribe of Levi, and this was because God had made the Levi people a different kind of promise. He made a rule that they will receive their food from the sacrifices and the offerings that other tribes gave to the Lord, God of Israel, and the Levi descendants received that instead of any land. Um, but Reuben's tribe, Reuben is the oldest brother of Joseph, and so his descendants, they received their own tribe, and it goes into detail on who went where, or who lives where they live, and then so forth and so forth on all of the people on where they were able to set up shop once they were no longer having to fight and things like that. Okay. Which I believe is a beautiful story just because it shows you how vigilant battle can make us, but it also shows you sometimes you gotta fight for what you believe in. You have to fight for what you believe God has promised you. You gotta put your dukes up, duke them. Okay. So, Hebron and Caleb. If you guys don't know who these people are, um, Caleb is one of the noblemen that rocked with Joshua back when they used to be the ones being spies and stuff like that for Moses. So some of the men of Judah's tribe came to Joshua, and Caleb spoke to Joshua, and he said, "You know what the Lord said to Moses, okay, the man of God, about you and me." He said, so this is Joshua. He said, "I was 40 years old when Moses sent me there to explore the land of Canaan. I brought back to him a true report, and I was sure that we could take the land. The men who went with me made the people afraid, but I continue to trust the Lord my God." So Moses made a promise to me on that day, and he said that the land that your feet have walked on will always belong to you and your children, and this is because you have trusted the Lord. Okay, so again, if you guys don't remember, and if you want to know what he's talking about here, he's basically saying because they were so brave at that time, I think it was only two of them that went over there, because he was so brave, and he didn't think, no, he had no shadow of doubt in his mind that they was not going to be straight going over there to see what it was given. And so because of that, that whole place that they went to go spy on was promised to them. It was promised them. So um, the Lord has kept me alive for 45 years since Moses said this. During this time, the Israelites were traveling in the desert. So again, this is when they was drinking water out of rock, when this promise was given. Okay. Now I'm 85 years old. I am still as strong as I was on the day that Moses sent me out. I can fight as well now as I could then. So he was still in shape. He was still, that man. So now this is what Caleb is saying. But hold on, don't forget about me. So he was like, basically, please give me this hill country that Lord promised to me. And he said, you heard that those other people were living there in large, strong cities, but the Lord will help me to chase them out as he promised me to do. And so Joshua, he was like, you ain't never lie about that. And so they made the agreement on Caleb getting the entire place that they went to go spy on way back when they were leading the Israelites out of Egypt through the desert. Okay, so this promise is now being revealed and set in stone for these men here. So you get to see how they're able to have that discussion, remind each other of what it was and what it ain't. And that's going to be Joshua 14. Read the whole thing. Okay. So the reason why I find this story so influential and a lot of people let go over their head is these men are men of honor, and they can't do certain things and say certain things because at this time they were considered the leaders. Okay. So we're actually going to fast forward through the book of Joshua because the other majority of the books from 15 and up are really about where people set up shop after the war. So if you guys want to go and research that, you can. It goes into like who went where, who was given what, and everything like that. So we're going to fast forward to Joshua 23, and this is basically a similar moment that we get to experience where y'all remember when oh, y'all remember when Moses was leaving earth due to old age or whatever the case may be. Do y'all remember when hold on, I gotta put my sweater on. Do y'all remember when child, I lost my train of thought. Oh, do you guys remember when Moses was getting ready to pass away due to old age? And before he went out to pass away, all of the things he was saying and the warnings he was saying, y'all make sure y'all do this. Don't be being disobedient. Don't worship false gods, things like that. Well, Joshua is now going to be doing the same thing. So that's going to be Joshua 23. So Joshua, he became very old. The Lord had let the Israelite people live safely for many years. The other nations who lived near them did not attack them. One day, Joshua called all the leaders to meet with him, and they were the leaders of the Israel tribes and clans, the judges and officers. And he said to them, he said, I am now very old. You yourselves have seen that the Lord has done these things, done these to other nations. He said, it was the Lord who fought against them on your behalf. So don't try to take all the credit. And remember how I had given land to each of your tribes. The land is between Jordan River on the east and the Mediterranean Sea on the west. And it is the land that belonged to different nations. Some of those people were we chased away, but some of them still remain in the land. Okay, the Lord Himself will chase those people out of the land, so you don't, so you can go and live there. And He said that the Lord your God has promised you this. Okay, so now He's giving His goodbye speech and everything like that. And so I'm just like, oh, just when I fell in love, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So he told him, he said, y'all be very strong, be careful that you obey everything that Moses wrote in the book of the law. Do not turn away from any of those rules. Do not become friends with any of the nations that you live near. Do not call out to their gods. Do not use the names of their gods to make a promise. And you must not serve them or worship them, but you must always serve the Lord your God as you have until now. So he basically saying the same thing that Moses was saying. Don't be worshiping false idols. Keep your act together and follow God's orders. Okay. So he told him, he said, I will soon be unalived, as all men do. The Lord your God has done everything that he promised he would do. Deep inside yourselves, you know that is true. He said, he has not failed you. Not one, he never failed to give you any promise that he ever had. So I am actually reading the U Version Bible. You can download that app and you are able to look up the easy version, which is in very simple terms where a fourth and fifth grader can use it. And you can also do a number of things on the app, such as look for scriptures based on your mood. So at the bottom of the screen, it'll have like little happy faces, sad faces, or whatever, how you're feeling, and it'll direct you to those scriptures as well. But that is a nugget for those of you who question my receipts. Okay. So that was all Joshua 23. If you want to go ahead over there on how he was given his closing statements. Okay. And thank you guys so much for coming in. If you are seeing this beautiful face, make sure you like, double tap that screen. Don't be a hater. I did this for you, and make sure that you show me that you appreciate it, please. Okay, would you please? All right. And thank you guys so much for coming in as well. So, Joshua 24 is where the Israelites agreed to serve the Lord God. Okay, so Joshua called all the Israelites to the tribe to meet together at Shechem. He called the leaders of the clans, the rulers, the judges, and the officers to stand in front of the tabernacle. Now Joshua said to the people, "This is what the Lord Israel's God says." Okay, so now he's quoting God directly on what he said. Okay, so that's why you guys got to watch out for these false prophets and these false gods and other stuff that people be watching and stuff, because they be saying stuff like this. Oh, the Lord told me. No, I ain't told you nothing. Okay, so you just got to watch out for that. But anyways, I just feel like I need to say that. So Joshua said to his people, "This is what the Lord said, Israel God." He said, a long time ago. Now this, we already know this, but there are some newcomers coming in, so we gonna read it anyway. Okay, we gonna read it anyway. And sorry guys, I couldn't get my hair right. I'm just all over the place. But I ain't here to look cute. I'm here to boss up. Okay. So it said, a long time ago, your ancestors lived on the other side of the Euphrates River. They include Terah, who was the father of Abraham, and Nahor. Okay. They worshiped other gods, but I took Abraham, your ancestor, away from the land beyond the Euphrates. Okay. Probably not saying that right. River. He said, I brought him here and I led them through all the land of Canaan. I gave them many descendants, and I gave him a son, Isaac. I remember Isaac. I gave him, I gave to his, I gave to, sorry guys, I gave to Isaac two sons, which was Jacob and Esau. Now y'all know Jacob and Esau are twins, are some of our first twins, which are also our ancestors, okay? And so he said, I gave to Esau the hills of Seir, but Jacob and his sons went down to live in Egypt. Now y'all remember why he went down to go live in Egypt, right? Well, I'm gonna remind you, because his trifling sons sold their brother off into slavery, and they thought that they was gonna eat, but then that same son they sold off into slavery bossed up and ran entire Egypt, and he was a humble, beautiful man who, when his family was hungry, thirsty, drifty, and dry, and they came with their hand held out, he helped them. That's how they got to Egypt. Wake that up. Clock it. Now, ooh, that just made me mad all over again. Whew. The Lord said to forgive, so we're going to forgive them. So he said, I sent Moses and Aaron to lead the Israelites when they were in Egypt. I punished the people of Egypt, and I brought you out from there. Okay, when I brought your ancestors out of Egypt, they reached the Red Sea. The Egyptians chased them to the sea, the soldiers and the horses and their chariots. But your ancestors called to the Lord for help. He made the space between them and the Egyptians become dark. Okay, he caused the Egyptian soldiers to be unalived in the sea. The ancestors saw what I did to the Egyptians with their eyes. Wake that up. Now, this is what Joshua said that God said. After that, they lived in the desert for a long time. Y'all want to know why they was living in the desert for a long time? Because they was trifling, acting like they didn't know where they came from. Talk about we could have got a different leader and be a slave. Yes, friend, and that's why they was in the desert because they kept on messing up their blessing. Go get your blessing. Yes. They was tearing up their blessings because they was trifling in that desert. Okay. He said, I brought you to the land on the east side of the Jordan River. They fought against you, but I helped you win that fight. I destroyed them in front of you, and you took their land. The kings prepared to attack. When he did this, he asked Balaam, son of Beor, to curse you. Y'all remember when the king told Balaam to curse the Israelites, and Balaam, he was low key finna be off by that angel with that sword. And he turned back around and he told that king, listen, I'm gonna tell you straight up, not them ones. He said, I'm gonna tell you like this, straight up. Leave them Israelites people alone. Mm-hmm. You wanna know why? And you wanna know why? Because God came to him directly and said, now I know I just told you not to touch them people. You go around there and try to do that, I was gonna unalive you. But at least your donkey had enough sense to turn around. But you still kept on trying to go through what the king said. I don't care about what the king said. I'm God, and that's how God checked him because he thought he was finna do this big one and did not. Okay, but I would not listen to Balaam, so he could not curse you, but he continued to bless you. In that way, I have saved you from Balak's power, okay, which was the king that called himself trying to do his big one and was never going to do anything. Okay, then you went across the Jordan River and came to Jericho city. The people of Jericho fought against you, so did the other kings. Okay, and I helped you win against all of those people. Again, guys, they ain't lost the war. None of them. People that came from people that came from being slaves to full fledged military trained soldiers. Wake that up. Where your mama at? Okay? They ain't lost no war. Not with Joshua. Okay? I lost my place. Wait. Okay. He said, I sent great fear on your enemies as you moved into the land. I chased them all away as well as the two kings of the Amorites. Pause. Now, y'all need to understand. Y'all remember when Simon and Levi went over there and unalived all them people for R-wording their sister Dinah, and they just two brothers. Okay? Because Jacob had many, many sons. I don't know if y'all know the song. Okay? But he had two of them that went over there and slayed that whole city. Anyway, Jacob was like, now you're gonna bring war on us because you didn't went and did all that. So God pumped fear in the hearts of anybody that thought they was gonna try to retaliate. He pumped fear in their heart, pump fear in their heart. Pump it, push it, push it real good. Push fear into their chest. And then people did not come and mess with Jacob or his sons. Okay, so he basically did the same thing with a lot of people who may have tried to retaliate or try to do their big one. That's what he was saying right here. Okay, he said you did not win because you were strong, because you're strong and you got all these weapons. You won because of me. Okay, the land was a gift for me, and I gave you a land where you had not worked in the fields. Okay, I gave you towns to live that you did not build. Okay, you eat grapes and olives from trees that you did not plant. So again, Don't be coming for the queen. I got receipts. Now y'all remember when Moses was like, I keep wanting to say Joseph. I just can't get over Joseph, huh? If you want to be with Joseph, girl, just say that. But look, why when Moses was about to get ready to head out, because he was getting old. Remember he said in the song when God was talking, he told him, he said, I hope y'all don't think that y'all getting all of this because you're good people, because you are not good people. The only reason why you're getting this is because it was a promise to our big homie Abraham and his sons. This ain't got nothing to do with y'all, because y'all trifling behind. No. Darrell, we're gonna link up later on this afternoon, God willing. I might not. I don't know. But we'll give you guys the floor in a minute, okay? So he said, I know y'all didn't think that y'all did anything to deserve this land, anything to deserve anything that the Lord giving y'all, because y'all know y'all some trifling, bald-headed people. Okay? So basically that's what he's trying to tell them again. Once again, don't let it fool you. Everything that you eat, everything you stand on, everywhere you've been, every thing you ever accomplished in your good life was because of God, your God. Don't get it twisted. Wake that up. Clock it. You ain't plant no grapes. You ain't working no fields. You ain't built no houses. You ain't learned how to do nothing but receive, 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 receive. Yeah, I know what he did to you know what he did to Adam. Adam had to work with nothing but dry dirt for the rest of his life. And he lived for how long? Yeah, go ahead, go to part 1. You go see years and years and years. Hundreds of years. And Joshua said to the people, now you must serve the Lord with fear. You must worship him. You must continue to trust him. Throw away the gods that your ancestors worship, where they live, beyond the Euphrates River in Egypt. He said, worship the Lord, but now you got to understand, we already have been down this speech so many different times. I can't keep count on how many times we've been told not to worship false gods. But another reason being is because there was some people who became a part of the Israelites whose gods were different from our God. Okay, the real God. Okay, so you got to let them know ain't no punk faking over here, boo boo. Y'all need to know what it is and what it ain't, and where your mama at. Yes, yes, yes. You're welcome. He said, but if you refuse to serve the Lord, you should choose another God to worship. Decide today. Let's see what side you on right now. What side is you on right now? Because we did not come to play with you. Will you serve the gods that your ancestors worshiped across the river? Will you serve the gods of the other people whose land we are living in now? He said, you choose. But as for me and my family, we serve the Lord. Yes, yes, yes. Wake that up. You're welcome. You need to know if you listen. He told Israelites and the people that act like they don't know what they got going on in their good life and their bad life. He told them right now, is you choosing or not? Is you choosing or not? We need to know what side you on, because if you ain't with me, you're against me. Okay? Just like what's the name said? Is you a op? Are you here to help? That's it. That's it, friend. That's it. There ain't no in between. Quit straddling that fence. Quit straddling that fence. Either you believe in God or you don't. So the people answered Joshua. They said, we would never turn against the Lord to serve our gods, other gods. He said, we and our fathers were slaves in Egypt, but the Lord our God brought us from out of there. We saw the great miracles that he did there. He kept us safe all the time on our journey as we traveled through other nations. Okay. They was like the Lord chased all the other nations out as we moved into the land. He chased out the Amorites and other people who lived in the land. So we too will serve the Lord because he is our God. So they were like, no, 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 no. Not after he done brought us from slavery and gave us all this good stuff. No, 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 no. We worshiping your God too. That's our God too. So they say. They say they on the winning team. That's what they say. I'll be the judge of that. So Joshua was like, the Holy Lord, your God, he said, you will not be able to, hold on. Let me highlight this. So Joshua said to them, he said, the Lord is a holy God. You will not be able to serve him. He wants you to belong to him alone. He said, if you turn against him or if you do not obey him, he will not forgive you. Girl, that's tea for me because I thought that God be forgiving people because I could have sworn we read that up in Moses, but we're going to see what it's given. He said, this what Joshua said. This what Joshua said. And if you think I'm lying, you can go ahead over to Joshua 24, verse 19, and we're going to continue to read this. This my real life experience reaction in real time. I didn't read this ahead of y'all this time, okay? I know y'all be telling me stop reading before us and spoil alerts and all that, but I couldn't help it sometimes. It's not my boo friend. Hey boo boo. I know I be telling you I've been telling you I'm gonna call you and everything like that, but I am a hard woman to reach. Okay, so you're gonna have to catch the King when Cassie King is catchable. Okay. I am a very hard woman to reach. But it's not even it's not even giving all that. It's just your girl got a number of hats that I wear. Okay. I wear a number of hats. But thank you so much for coming in. So child, Joshua said to them, the Lord is a holy God. You will not be able to serve him. He wants you to belong to him alone. Okay? Y'all know he's a jealous God. Y'all heard the song in Moses. Y'all heard the song. Okay? So he said, if you turn away from the Lord and serve foreign gods, he will turn against you. He has been kind and he has helped you until now. But he will bring trouble to you and he will destroy you if you turn away from him. Now, we done been down this road before. We done been down this road before. We done been down this road before. Well, now we know. But we also got some other people from other places during this time of war because there was some people that were saved, like the prostitute and her family. They saved her because she was a real one. and the Gillian people who came over there talking about, oh, we slaves, we homeless. They say them people, they even know that they were servants and slaves, because they basically told them, oh, we this, we that. Come find out they was lying. And so Joshua had already told them that they wasn't going to be unalived. So when they found out that they was lying, they still had to stand on their word, because Joshua was a man about standing on business. Okay? So that's another reason why he has to tell them and explain to them, you can't do both. You can only do one. You can only serve God. That's God. That's it. You can't be straddling the fence, boo-boo, because he will not forgive you. He will turn against you. So the people said to Joshua, never. We will only serve God, the Lord. Now, if it's some of what's that lady name? Rahab. Now, if it's some of her people, then I believe when they get to hooping and hollering and talk about, I believe them, because I believe them because you know, when they pulled up over there where she was staying at, and the spies, they knew about the Israelites and God and everything, and they believed it, and they had no choice but to believe it, because it was nothing but receipts from back-to-back wars being won, and did nobody, they was undefeated. So when we was going through this here right now, I was like, wait a minute. Now, if it's Rahab's people's and her, because she saved her whole entire family. Anybody that was related to her that was at that house when they told her to put the ribbon out the window. When they told her that, I believe her people might really do want to be serve God only, because the way she broke it down to them was like, look. So I believe them, that's the ones that said something. And Joshua said to them, you yourselves have chosen to serve the Lord. Agree now that you have done that. Now y'all know them Israelite people, they got confident, okay? Wake it up. Thank you. Drop a bean for your shit. Drop a bean. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. I'm just happy you guys are here, okay? No, but she told her, look. She told her side. She said, I already know what it is, what it ain't. Now, if y'all sit up here, you say you agreed that you serve the Lord. Now that's free will. That's that free will. Take it back to part 1 when we first got here. Back with the mother and father of all people. If you make an agreement with the Lord, you gotta stand on business. Jesus wasn't there yet. So they better not cut up. I don't know. We're gonna see. And so they say, yeah, we agree. We gonna see. We gonna see. We gonna see. So Joshua said, so now you must throw away all your foreign gods that you still keep. Trust the Lord, Israel's God, and obey him. Now remember, now this was back when Jacob and his little wives, you remember he was just infatuated with Rachel. Anyway, she called herself taking the foreign gods from her daddy house, and he was like, why you even got them? So sometimes people just be holding on to stuff because of what their family did and everything like that. But hold on, get this off my screen. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Double tap that screen. It's your girl, Cassie King, and I'm coming to you live and in color. If you are just coming in, double tap that screen. You see it. Don't be a hater. Like, share my stuff. If you mess with me, I will always mess with you back. My mama told me that fair exchange ain't no robbery. Wake it up. Clock it. Where your mama at? So the people said to Joshua, we will serve the Lord our God and we will obey him. That same day, Joshua made an agreement for the people to accept. He said, there at Shechem, he made a list of rules and laws for them to obey. Joshua wrote these things in the book of God's law. Then he took a big stone and he stood there under the oak tree that was near the Lord's holy place. And Joshua said to all the people, look at this stone. It has been here. It has heard everything that the Lord has said to us today. I will speak against you if you fail to obey your God. Okay. Y'all want to know something that's so funny? Because you know how he said, hold on, y'all. I'm getting a little moist. Y'all know how he said that the rock heard what the agreement was, that the rock was basically the witness. I really do, and y'all comment down below how you feel about it, and everybody is welcome to sit at the table. It ain't nothing wrong with sharing your opinion or whatever. Everybody is welcome to sit at the table, right? So y'all know I talk to trees. I believe that they can hear me, and I believe that they communicate with us in a certain way if we allow them. I believe that the earth is a living thing because I read my Bible and it says that. I believe that. And so y'all let me know what your standpoint on it about earthly things, and if you believe that they are just like say for example, like a pet. You have a pet and you feel like your cat or your dog can understand you. I even seen somebody on TikTok whose fish, he talked to it like it's like a, like how you talk to the dog. Like he was like, "Hey, so and so." I forgot what the fish name. I think it was some type. It was a female fish, I guess. I didn't even know that fishes could respond like that. He's like, "Hey, good morning." He's like, "Come over here," and she swam from one side of the tank to the other side of the tank, and then what he called himself, trying to put on his little coat. Y'all tell me if y'all know who I'm talking about. I can't even think of the man's name. But he put on his little coat, get ready, head out the door, and the fish get to swimming through the thing. I really do believe that, like earth, like trees and stuff like that, maybe even rocks, because they mention that a lot in the Bible. I believe that they can hear us and understand us very well. I do believe that. But y'all let me know if I'm just a tree hugger. Am I a tree hugger? So then Joshua sent the people away. They went to the parts of the land that now belong to each of them. Now we get into the detail on how Joshua passes on and how old he was when he passed on, and how the people reacted to that, and what's going to be tea after this journey. Okay, so as we are very well aware, Joshua did not come to play, and we are also very aware that the ages are slowly going more and more down. Now y'all remember, we went from people living up into 900 some years old to 300 some years old to 200 to now we're in the hundreds, where they were 180 to things like that. I'm just going based off of, you read your Bible, you figure out how old people was. I ain't your mama. Anyway, so Joshua passes away from old age, and so we're gonna get the tea on how that looked for him. Okay. So hey, Baku, you're late, ain't it? It's okay. Joshua, he passes away. After this, the Lord's servant, Joshua, son of Nun, passed away at age 110 years old. Okay. He lived a cool little long life. Okay, he lived a cool little long life. And so the Israelites, they had let me make sure I'm still decent. So the Israelites buried him in his own land that was at the Timnah Sarai or Sarah, and that was in the hill of the country of Ephraim, north of Mount Gosh. Okay, so the people of Israel, they continued to serve the God served the Lord while Joshua and the old men were still alive. Joshua and those men seen everything that the Lord had done to help Israel. And the Israelites had brought Joseph's bones up from Egypt to bury him at Shechem. This land was the field that Jacob bought from the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father. Now, y'all gotta understand. When I be saying Shechem and Hammer and them, I just try to get past them. But if y'all don't remember who these people is, these is the people that are worded one of our ancestors by the name of Dinah, who was a very, very beautiful daughter from Jacob and Leah, who these women were very irresistible. And, you know, that's a touchy topic. But anyway, this land was the field that Jacob had brought from the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father. Jacob paid them 100 pieces of silver for the land. Now that the land belonged to Joseph's descendants, okay? Which obviously, right, because that was his dad. And so they basically went back home. And so it kind of tells you like how Joshua went out. So there was no need for like another leader or anything like that, because they had Joshua went out with a bang and they conquered everything, and so they were back in their home and everything like that. So now we're going to go into the intro of Judges, and that's going to be the book after Joshua. So we're just going to take a quick restroom break, and then we'll get back up into the intro and probably take a sneak peek in the first chapter, and then we'll go on ahead and admire one of our kings in the name of Black History Month. Okay, guys? All right, so I'm going to give you guys some time to go to the restroom, re-up on snacks and drinks, and then we'll come back and get into this tea chat. Get into it, ay. Get into it, ay. Get into the wins. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So, give me 1 second. I'll be right back with you. All right, guys, I am back. Thank you so much for allowing me to have that beautiful restroom break. I hope that you guys got some good snacks. Comment down below what you're snacking on. Make sure you guys share with the newcomers, because they probably didn't know that we don't provide snacks. Okay, but thank you guys for coming in. Hopefully that restroom break gave you guys some time to come in and refresh your mood. Okay, so again, before our brief restroom break, we were just pretty much closing it on Joshua and how he went out with a bang. He passed away at 110 years old, and his closing and how that worked out for him, and what it gave, and what it was, and what it ain't, what it is, and what it ain't. So now we're gonna go into the book of Judges. We may go into the book of Judges. We'll see what it's given. So the book of Judges, now this is going to be the new season, okay? So about the book of Judges, this book tells us about the Israelites after they entered the land of Canaan, okay? So again, if you are still just coming in, they went through a number of things to even get to where they're at. So now in the book of Judges, we see how they set up shop and how they're living. It talks about the judges who were the people that God chose to lead them, to keep them safe from their enemies. And it tells us how the people did not obey God They worshipped idols instead of God. I bet they did. Remember, I told y'all we gonna see. Oh, what did they say? What did they say when Joshua was telling them that he's getting old and what they needed to do, what it was and what it wasn't? What did they say? Because if I recall it, I could have sworn they said that they was gonna worship God and God alone. Now, did y'all hear what I read? Y'all go and read it. These people making my blood pressure go up, and I can't stand it. I'm about to tell Jesus. Okay, but yeah, in Book of Judges, it talks about who the people were that God chose to lead them and keep them safe from their enemies. And it also tells how the people did not obey God. They worshiped idols instead of God. When they did this, God punished them and they were sorry. Okay. When they were sorry, they asked God to help them. So God sent another judge to save them. They stopped obeying God again. This happened many times in the book of Judges. Okay, so the book of Judges teaches how important it is to obey God. But if people who have stopped obeying God are sorry and turn to Him, He is always ready to save them. Okay, so again, book of Judges is going to go into, even though they said, oh, we gonna worship God, we would never do that, we never do that. But here we are. Yeah, backslider, big back, bald head, good for nothing, backsliding. So that's the book of Judges. We're going to see how trifling people get. We're going to read them for filth. And then we're going to get into some tea, child. So I do want to do just a quick 1-2 for Judges. And then we'll go on ahead and end this out with our Black History Month representation. We're going to go and give honor to our king on that as well. So after Joshua had passed away, the Israelites asked the Lord, which of our tribes should be the first to attack the people that lived in the land of Canaan? Excuse me, stuttering and stuff. The Lord replied, Judah should attack first. I will give the land to them to take for themselves. The men of Judah's tribe said to their cousins, the men of Simon's tribe, join us to fight against the people in Canaan. Help us to take the land that God has given to our tribe. Then He will help you take the land that belongs to your tribe. So the men of Simon's tribe joined the men of Judah's tribe. Again, guys, these is Joseph's trifling brothers. Okay, this is their descendants. Somebody said, why should call it Joseph brothers trifling? Well, you need to go read your Bible because they put him into slavery for no reason, just because he was great. Okay, so that is those people on what it is and what it ain't, on how to fight against the people in Canaan. They finally get to take this as their home. So again, they attacked the people of Canaan. The Lord helped them win against 10,000 people of Canaan and people of Perizzite fighters. I'm probably not saying that right. Y'all go to Judges 1 and you figure out how to say it. I ain't your mama. Judah's army attacked Jerusalem. They took the city for themselves. They unalived people who lived there, and they burned down the buildings. All right. So again, Joshua taught them well. Okay, Joshua taught these folks well. They fought against the people that the Canaan people who lived in the hill in the Negev. and in the low hills of the west. They attacked the people who lived in Hebron. They won the fight against the clans of Sashashi, so forth and so on. Okay. So they went in there and they went to whooping on people. They went down there, they put on their tennis shoes and they started to duke them. They went down there and they went to whooping on these people. Yes. That's what it say. That's what it say. I'm just the messenger. Okay. The men of Joseph's tribes unalived all the people in the city, but they kept the man and his family safe. He went to the land of the Hittites. He built a city there, and he called it Luz, and that is still its name. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys, I jumped ahead. So some of the Israelites tribes, they do not chase out some of the people in Canaan, but the men of Manasseh's tribe could not chase out the people of these 5 cities. And when the Israelites had got a strong army, they made the people of Canaan do hard work for them. But they could never chase the people of Canaan away completely. So they had to turn some of them people into slaves because some of them was just not trying to do it wiggling like everybody else. There's a lot of the other people, they were a lot of the other people they were pretty much ran off. But I guess these people they gave them a little hard time. They gave them a little run for their money, I guess. So they needed Joshua. That's what it looked like to me. So that's Judges 1. If you want to see how they start to get down with the nitty gritty for the land of Canaan yet again. Now, Judges 2, it goes into when God warns the Israelites about their sin. Now, I don't know why, but that's God's children. But how many times you got to warn people? They touched, huh? They touched. Yes, they touched. Mm-hmm. Child, it couldn't be me. It couldn't be Peter. It couldn't be me, and it couldn't be Peter. So, the angel of the Lord went from Begal and Beckham, and he said, I have brought you out of Egypt. I brought you here to this land that I promised to give your ancestors. And I said that I will always do that for what I promised your ancestors. Yet here he is. I told you not to make an agreement with people who live in this land. Now, I done told you this. I told you to destroy the altars where they worship their gods. But you have not done as I told you. I mean, come on. How many times do we have to say it? Give God his burnt offerings off everybody. Unalive everybody. That's what I said. I said what I said, and I meant what I said. He need to get that switch. He need to get that switch. Child, he about to piss me off. He said again, I told you not to make any agreement with the people who live here in this land, and I told you to destroy all the altars where they were worshipping false gods. But you have not done what I told you. Why have you not obeyed me? So now, I'll tell you what. I will not chase the people of Canaan away so that you can take their land. I ain't even finna chase them away. You on your own, boo boo. And instead, they will cause trouble for you, boo boo. Their false gods will cause you to turn away from me, boo boo, bald headed, musty, crusty. When the Lord's angel said this, the Israelites began to weep loudly. They called that place Bakum, and they offered sacrifices to the Lord. Now you want to do the proper offerings, huh? Now, huh? Because when Joshua was about to pass on, and he told y'all what it was and what it wasn't, you should have stood by your word. But we already read this. We already know the song that Moses wrote. We already know the song that God wrote for Moses to sing to the people. We already know what was going to happen anyway. And if you missed that part, you need to head over to that YouTube. If you seeing this beautiful face, double tap that screen. Do not be a hater. Share my stuff. I'll share your stuff. You like my stuff. I like your stuff. We friends. I birthed you. You my baby. I birthed you. So we're gonna go back to what happened with Joshua as well in the book of Judges. All right. Now, if y'all want to know where God basically told them what it was and what it ain't, that's gonna be Joshua. I'm sorry, that's gonna be Judges 2:1-5. Now, Joshua he passed away, and the Israelites buried them. Joshua sent the people away. Each Israelite tribe went to take part of the land that would belong to them. Joshua already prepared y'all. The Israelites continued to serve the Lord while Joshua, the old men, were still alive. Joshua and those men had seen great things that the Lord had done to help Israel. Okay. The Lord's servant Joshua passed away at 110 years old. The people buried him in the land that had been given to his family. That was the Timnah Hers and the Rephaim Hill country on the north side of Mount Gosh. Okay. So they mentioned that again in Judges on how Joshua went out. Okay. And this is very important on Joshua because he did his big one to get these people here in the first place. He did all pretty much, he led them with the Lord's power, obviously. He led them into victory many, many, many times. Many times. Many men. Many, 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 many men. Okay. The Israelites turned away from God as well in Judges. Oh, did they? Oh, I did not assume. All the people of Joshua's generation had passed away. Oh, this makes sense. Look at me judging. And the book of Judges judging. And the book of Judges judging. But I'm just saying though, because the simple fact of the matter is, come on now. Y'all gotta know something. I be seeing people, I be seeing kids, babies, knowing God, knowing Jesus. What's their malfunction? Mm. So all the people of Joshua's generation had passed away. So the Israelites did the things that the Lord saw were evil. They worshipped idols of Baal. They turned away from the Lord, the God of their ancestors they turned away from God and worshiped the ancestors Let me say it again. They turned away from the God and they act like they forgot that that is who their ancestors worshiped. Okay. Now, he was the one that brought them safely out of Egypt. Instead, they served false gods of the people who lived near them. They worshiped those gods, and the Lord became angry. Oh, did he? 504 boy. Hello. May the Lord be with you. We're going to be linking that later on this afternoon. I need to put y'all on the charger. Come here. And sit still. Sit still. Okay. All right. They turned away from the Lord and they worshiped the idols of Baal and Astoreth instead. Why they did that? I don't know. I guess they forgot what grandma and grandpa had told them. You know, sometimes we forget. We do. Sometimes we forget, but we ain't. You might be dumb, but you ain't slow. The Lord was very angry with the Israelites and he punished them. Okay, he sent. Oh my goodness. The Lord was very angry with the Israelites and he punished them. He sent robbers to attack them and take their animals and food. He put them under the power of their enemies who lived around them. They were not strong enough to fight against their enemies. Oh, really? When the Israelites went to fight against their enemies, the Lord turned against them. Oh, you want to turn against me? Well, I'm going to turn against you, boo boo. He punished them as he said he would do. So the Israelites was in great trouble. And if you think I'm lying, you're going to head over to Judges 2 and you're going to see all of this tea 10 through 15 on how God felt and what he did about how he felt. Now, y'all know he jealous. And I don't went into this about this. I went into this about this with y'all. Y'all know I done went into this about this with y'all, but here we are again. Here we are again, and y'all still ain't got y'all act together. And now I'm about to get my chocolate. Because when we go into the details on what the song was about that Moses had to write down and sing for his people, because y'all know Moses went from not being able to talk to full-fledged singing. Now I don't know if he could sing, but he was singing and Lord bless him, right? So he had sung this little song that God had wrote for him, which was a diss record to the Israelites, and so he had already told them what it was and what it ain't, and if they was to do this, what was gonna happen. And if y'all think I'm lying, you're gonna go on ahead and head over to Moses. Matter of fact, let me go and tell y'all what it's song is for some of y'all who just must need to know. You must need to know, huh? Let me get my book because I wrote it down. Big back Pharisees. Hold on. Let me see. Where was it at? That's gonna be Deuteronomy 32. The whole song explains God's standpoint about how God is perfect and how what happens to people that's unfaithful and that play in God's face. Oh, you want to play in my face and you want to cheat on me? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So God said you can do your big one, but I'm for surely gonna get my lick back. Yes, yes, yes. You can do your big one, but God said, I'm going for sure get my lick back. I don't. Now y'all act like, you know what? These people is the reason why people be saying that word. Those people. Where your mama at? Ain't nobody tell you when your family was broke, dusty, dry, and they was drinking out of rock water, and they had nowhere to go. And Joshua and his army had to go and off everybody because y'all trifling behind was given a promised land that he gave to Abraham. And y'all so ungrateful, y'all still be cutting up. Just like, come on. Where your mama at? And I'm telling Jesus. Remember, God told him too. He said, oh yeah, and you gonna call yourself trying to go and worship false idols, and you're gonna do this in the third, and then when you do that, you're gonna try to come to me, and I'm gonna say, uh-oh, where are your false idols? Where the false gods at, friend? My dear friend. Where Keisha? Where Keisha at, friend? You said that Keisha had it going on. Where's Steve? He giving you all these nice things. Where you at now? Oh, now you want to come home. And so after that, the Lord chose judges to lead his people. Okay, so we had Joshua who didn't come to play, and now God selected some judges. So that way people could sit up on their thing and look down and judge. You don't want to be judged, and don't be judging with your judging self. Just judge. After that, these leaders rescued the Israelites from their enemies who were robbing them. But, however, the people did not obey their leaders. Why would they? They refused to serve the Lord faithfully. Instead, they worshiped false gods. They did not live in the way that their ancestors lived. The ancestors had obeyed the Lord's commands, but now the Israelites refused to obey him. Really? I did not assume. Whew. Somebody go get Moses. Better yet, go get Moses, Peter, and Joshua, and you just tell them to come back real quick and just do a big one, because this really here, this is diabolical. I'm not understanding. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Every time the Lord chose a judge to lead them, the Lord helped the leader rescue them from their enemies. While the leader wasn't still alive, the Lord was kind to them. When the Israelites called out to the Lord for help, he was sorry for them. He saw the cruel things that the enemies were doing to give them pain. Pause. Okay. Now y'all gotta understand that the God is a loving God, and we are his greatest creation. Wake that up. Okay. And so he be feeling bad because he like, oh, look at your little stupid self. Ain't that sad? Come on. Come get in the house. I told you not to go out there. Didn't I tell you not to go with them? Come on in. Come on. Come on in here. Don't try to cry now. Don't try to cry now. Cry again. Now, Jesus has said something about this in a similar way on how God be forgiving us and stuff. And so I'm going to read that off to you guys. If you guys need to go in, if you guys want to really get to know Jesus, you want to go to Matthew, Luke, and John. Oh, John's story. I love me some John. Okay. So I'm going to explain this and how I'm going to tell you, make this make sense for you guys on how Jesus tried to make it make sense when he finally came. Okay. Where's Jesus when you need him? Jesus. Okay. So again, every time the Lord chose a judge to lead them, the Lord helped the leader to rescue them from their enemies while the leader was still alive. The Lord was kind to them. The Israelites called out to the Lord for help, and he was so sorry for them. He saw the cruel things that their enemies were doing to give them pain. But when the leader passed away, the people would stop serving God. They would do even more wicked things than their fathers had done. That's tea for me. Now, as you can see, God keeps trying to help these people, okay? As you can see, he is basically uh try to help them redeem themselves. Okay, so God is the Lord of redemption and forgiveness. Okay, so even though he know they trifling, and even though he had to turn his blind eye, like, oh, you want to cut up? Okay, we'll see. And then now they're crying like, let me get these people some doggone judges. So that's how what it is given. So Jesus said that it's just like when a king, right? Because Peter was like, I'm gonna go to Jesus and how Jesus explains why this keep happening. Because we've been going through this journey and we just like, dang, why he keep on messing with the Israelites? Because he had made a promise. You can't break a promise, right? Number one. Number two, you have to give people chances, right? Because he's a forgiving God. So we also have to do that with one another. We have to forgive each other the way. See how God keep on forgiving these trifling, good for nothing people. So Peter was like, so how many times is I'm supposed to keep on forgiving my brothers and sisters after they sin against me? You said 7 times. And Jesus said, no, 77 times at this point, because you ain't getting the message. He said, it's just like, he basically said, it's just like a king, right? He go and he tell you, first of all, you owe me this. And the servant or the person that owe the king, he like, well, I ain't got it right now, but when I get it, I'm gonna holler at you. And so the king was like, well, since you ain't got it, then we'll pay your debts by selling your wife, your children, and all of your belongings. And so the man got down on his knees and started crying. He like, please don't do that. Just have patience with me, and I promise you I'll pay you back. And so when the king saw that, he was like, oh, okay. Well, you know what? I feel bad for you. And I don't know what it is, but my strings in my heart are being pulled. And so I'm going to settle your debt right here. You just go ahead and go with your pitiful self. And quit taking stuff that you can't pay back for. And so that's basically how Jesus explained it. Does that make sense? Because I be eating these people up, but in all seriousness, it is, that's how come they keep getting all these chances. Number one, God won't break his promise no matter what. Number two, he is a forgiving God, and he will try to put things in your life to help you redeem yourself. Amen. Amen. Because of this, the Lord became angry with every Israelite. Okay, so again, they worship false gods, and they were doing wicked things that was worse than what the Israelites before was doing. Do you know what happened to them? Unalived. So because of this, the Lord became very angry with the Israelites, and he said, this nation of my people has not obeyed the covenant that I made with their ancestors. So, Keisha, I will not chase out the nations that are still living in the land. They are the people who were still there when Joshua passed away. I will use those nations to test the Israelites, and I will see if the people will live carefully. In that way, I have shown them. This is their way, their ancestors lived. So the Lord set up some people from Canaan to live in the land. And he did not chase them all away. He had not put them under Joshua's power. Okay. So while all of this stuff, in other words, while all of this stuff was going down, God was preparing to get the testing and seeing who down with the bending is or who's truly a op in disguise. Okay. So remember, if you was at the other Bible tea party, we talked about how Moses warned them, and he said, do not worship false gods and false idols, because God will sometimes put things in the way to test your faith. So be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful, because he will test you to see what is given and what it ain't. You see when he tested Abraham, and he was like, yo, I'm gonna need that son. And Abraham was like, okay, bet. I got another one. And he was like, boy, don't hurt the boy. I was just testing you. You know we don't hurt kids. And Abraham was like, well, shoot, I didn't know what you were. So in this case, God was like, okay, now let's go ahead and put these people to the test. How about? And I knew as soon as he heard them say, we will serve him. We're going to stick beside him. We will never worship any other gods. We're going to stay around forever. So God was like, okay, we'll see. And Moses told him, Moses said, look, God will test you. God will test you. And I've been tested. We've all been tested. So some of us, we fail that test. Okay. So so I'm just like, these people, they just don't want to let up. They don't want to listen. Nothing. It's always there's always we receive. And then when they get everything they want, they get situated, then they all of a sudden want to go astray. Then they all of a sudden want to worship other gods and all of this. So God was like, I'm gonna give them a test. I'm gonna see what it is and what it ain't. And there was some of them that was not off during the time Joshua was running things, because of God's plan to test the Israelites yet again. And if you want to see where that T is at, you're going to go to Judges 2. And if you want to see where it says where God is angry and where the people turned on him, so that's going to be Judges 2. And you're going to read 10 through 15 on how they turned away from God, and what they mean, what I mean by that, and what they were doing when they were being wicked. And then God's response to that is going to be Judges 2:16 through 23. In other words, read the whole thing. I'm not your mama. I birthed you. Okay. So that is going to be Judges 1 and 2. Now, Judges 3, we're going to go into a sneak peek on how God uses other nations to test the Israelites, and also what the T is on that, okay? So, God uses other nations to test the Israelites. So the Lord allowed some of the nations to stay in Canaan. He would use them to test the Israelites who had not yet fought wars in Canaan. And he wanted to teach the young men of Israel how to fight their enemies, because they had not fought battles before. Okay, so the nations are named through Judges 3, verse 3, and you'll be able to see what the nations were. But again, the Lord allowed some of the nations to stay in Canaan, and he wanted to use them to test the Israelites, because at this point, the people that was rocking with Joshua, a lot of them have passed away. And so now this is a new generation, so to speak. And so God need to put them on game and get them ready to be able to put their dukes up too. because everybody need to be able to squabble. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So he wanted to teach the men of Israel how to fight their enemies, because at this point, Joshua had been gone. It's been a minute now. And so he has to relearn these people. And these people also have to learn more about God as well. Make sense? Amen. Amen. So these nations were still there to test the Israelites. The Lord wanted to know if his people would obey his commands. That was another thing he wanted to double check and see. Let's see if these little youngins or this new generation, if they know what it is and what it ain't. So those were the commands, obviously, that he had told Moses to give the ancestors of the Israelites. So the Israelites lived among other nations, which are the people of Canaan, the people of Hiti, the people of Amorites, and so forth and so on. Some Israelites married young women from these nations, and I believe that they wasn't supposed to do that. But y'all go back and remind me. So they also let their daughters marry men that were from Canaan. As a result, the Israelites started to worship their gods. Okay, remember, we already been down this road before with Moses. Okay, we'd have been down this road before when they was doing their traveling, and the next thing you know, they start getting involved with these little good for nothing females, and then these good for nothing females was getting them to do worship other false gods. So God basically had to unalive those that participated, and then the people that influenced them were to be unalived as well. Okay? Everybody. Everybody. So the Israelites forgot to serve God. They did the things that they saw were evil. They worshiped idols of Baal and Asherah or Asherah or Asherah. Y'all let me know how y'all say that. You go look. The Lord was very angry with the Israelites. He let the king Cushan of Aram attack them, and they were under his power for 8 years. So he let them go into another culture and race's power for 8 years straight, because the simple fact of the matter that they were pretty much worshiping false idols, and they needed to pay for that. Okay? And so at this point, that was 8 years of a payment. I mean, it's not, I mean, it's a lot less than 930 years, but it's still, that's still a cool little minute. Okay. Then the Israelites called out to the Lord. Now they want to cry. So he chose Othniel to be their leader. He was the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger daughter, Caleb's younger brother. So Caleb is Joshua's bestie, right? And so his son, Caleb's son, got selected in Judges 3 to be the leader. Y'all following me? So we gonna see O'Neal. We gonna see O'Neal. We gonna see if it's giving. So the Lord's Spirit gave O'Neal power to lead Israel, and O'Neal led them to fight against King Cushan. The Lord helped O'Neal to win the battle against the king, and as a result, the land of Israel had peace for 40 years. Then O'Neal had passed away. Okay, so at this point, we're going to start getting into what it was given in terms of now that the generations from Joshua's people have passed away. We got some new youngins who have to basically go through the trial and error that we all have to go through to understand God. We're constantly being tested. We're constantly going through this, that, and the third. And so God does is with us, but it comes at a price. What you gonna do for me? What you gonna do for me? You know what I'm saying? So they have to relearn this stuff. We have to go in and seeing how trifling they're gonna be, if they're gonna respond to God's techniques well, if being under that king's power for 8 years cause them to have any sense by now on what it is and what it ain't. And we'll get into that at our next Bible tea party. Okay, guys. So we are gonna put a pin. Don't say all. We are gonna get into it. But we don't want to get too. I don't want to put too much on you guys at once. Number one. Number two, I want to get into as well and see some of the information that I want to refresh my mind on in the name of Black History Month. Okay, so again, Judges, we will be picking up from Judges 3, verse 7. If you guys want to jump ahead and take some sneak peeks before we have our next Bible tea party, and then I will try not to jump ahead as well. Y'all know I love to read my Bible. I'll try to not jump ahead as well because I want to read it with you guys. I don't want to read ahead and this and that because I'm not a preacher. I'm just reading my Bible. Okay, so I want to do that in real time with you guys as well. But again, I just want to thank you guys so much for coming in. Now let's go on ahead and get into our segment for the month of In the Name of Black History Month. We are going to talk about the one and only. Yeah, you said it. We got the same last name. Yeah, we might be related. Absolutely, 100%. Most likely. Martin Luther King Jr. Yay! Yay! Alrighty. So Martin Luther King Jr., guys, is a very, very important man. A lot of people know this man. He gave what needed to be given, and he was a very beautiful Black man who was a religious leader and civil rights activist. He has his name on multiple streets in multiple towns. He has so many different people all over the world that recognize him, that knows who he is. He's taught in elementary schools and middle schools. There are even college scholars that go into his story in his biography because of just how great this man was. Okay, so without further more ado, let's go on ahead and get into this teach-out about our Martin Luther King Jr., who was our American religious leader and civil rights activist in the name of Black History Month. Again, guys, I am a biracial, but I identify as a Black woman. Yes, yes, yes. So I believe that there's no such thing as a Black History Month. I do believe that we have history, period, as an American, because I read my Bible and I don't believe in being segregated and everything like that. So I'm happy that we have people like Martin Luther King that believe the same things. Okay. So, Martin Luther King Jr., he was born January 15th, 1929, Atlanta, Georgia, U.S., and he passed away in April 4th, 1968, Memphis, Tennessee. All right. He was a Baptist minister and social activist who led the civil rights movement into the United States of the mid 1950s until his unaliving by assassination in 1968. His leadership was fundamental to the movement's success in ending the legal segregation of African Americans in the South and other parts of the United States. King rose to the national prominence as his head of Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which he promoted to nonviolent tactics such as massive march on Washington, 1963, to achieve civil rights. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. So, guys, if you were at the last Bible Tea Party, we did go over Malcolm X. Malcolm X was completely different, and he in that aspect at first, and he used to try to throw shade at Martin Luther King for doing it this way. But Martin Luther King was actually admired by other people for doing it this way, just a peaceful way of just standing your ground on wanting to come together as people, okay? As a one person, as a one people, okay? I had a dream that little white boys and little white girls will drink from the same water fountain. I know I'm a fool. My camera looking a little delayed on this side. Girl, get it together. Don't hate on me. If you are seeing my beautiful face, double tap that screen, like, share. Follow me. If you missed anything, head over to the YouTube, like, share, subscribe. You'll be able to catch up on this tea. If you are wanting to just get some quick sneak peeks, if you have a short attention span, I do post clips of our lives on TikTok as well. And so again, if you bless me, the Lord will surely bless you. And I believe that if you follow me, I will follow you back. You like my things, I will like your things back. My mama told me that fair exchange ain't no robbery. Alrighty, so again, Martin Luther King came from a comfortable middle class family. He steeped into the tradition of the Southern Black ministry. Both his father and maternal grandfather were Baptist preachers, and his parents were college educated. And King's father had succeeded in his father in law as pastor of prestigious Elbersnar Baptist Church in Atlanta. The family lived in Auburn Avenue, otherwise known as Sweet Auburn, and the bustling Black Wall Street, home to some of the country's largest and most prosperous Black businesses and Black churches. In the years before civil rights movement, young Martin received a social education and grew up in a loving extended family. So he grew up in a church home, Baptist at that, which is a little bit different from Malcolm, who was Muslim. Obviously, guys, every culture, every religion is welcome at the Cassie King table. Okay. So this secure upbringing, however, did not prevent King from experiencing prejudice than the common in the South. He never forgot the time at about age 6, one of his white playmates announced that his parents would no longer allow him to play with the King because the children were now attending segregated schools. Dearest to King in these early years, his maternal grandmother, who passed away in 1941, left him shaken and unstable. So he was really grieving over his grandmother, guys. He was upset that he had learned of her fatal heart attack while attending a parade without his parents' permission. The 12-year-old King attempted S word by jumping from a second-story window. And that's really crazy because that's tea for me because I didn't know that. And I just show you how strong he was. So in 1944, at age 15, King entered Morehouse College in Atlanta under a special wartime program intended to boost enrollment by admitting promising high school students like King. Okay, before being in college, however, King spent the summer on a tobacco farm in Connecticut, and it was his first extended stay away from home and his first substantial experience of race relation outside of the segregated South. He was shocked how peaceful the races mixed in the North. Negroes and whites go to the same church, and he noted that in a letter to his parents, I never thought that a person of my race could eat anywhere. This summer experience in North not only deepened King's growing hatred of racial segregation. Okay. So he was able to experience things differently. It's very similar to Malcolm X during his travels and growing up. Um, Malcolm X was traveling the world and he was like, wait a minute, there are some nice white people, oh my gosh, like, wait a minute. On other parts of the world, there are some really nice cops and really good cops and things like that. So, sometimes, guys, you got to just get about that area that you're in. Some people be doing the mannequin challenge, ain't changed up what they did or whatever case may be. Get out and see more, and you'll realize that that's where people like me come from, okay? The biracials. We come from everyone loving everyone, no matter what your culture is or whatever the case may be, okay? So when Martin Luther King was doing his travels, he was like, wow, that really deepened his urge to hate segregation because he's like, we were able to hang out and have fun and so at Morehouse, King favored his studies in medicine and law, but these were eclipsed in his senior year by a decision to enter the ministry as his father had urged. King's mentor at Morehouse was the college president Benjamin Mays, a social gospel activist whose rich oratory and progressive ideas had left in an indelible imprint on King's father, committed to fighting racial inequity, inequality, girl. May accused the African American community of complacency in the face of oppression, and he prodded the Black church into social action by criticizing its emphasis on the hereafter instead of the here now. It was a cause to service that was not lost in the teenage King, and he graduated from Morehouse in 1948. So, recognizing the need for mass movement to capitalize the successful Montgomery action, King set out organizing the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which is also SCLC, which gave him a base of operation throughout the South, as well as a national platform from which to speak. King lectured all parts of the country and discussed race-related issues and religious and civil rights leaders at home and abroad. In February 1959, he and his party were warmly received by India's prime minister. As a result of a brief discussion of the followers of Gandhi about the Gandhian concepts of peaceful non-compliance, King became increasingly convinced that the nonviolent resistance was the most potent weapon available to oppressed people in their struggle for freedom. King also looked to for Africa for inspiration. The libertarian struggle in African The liberation struggle in Africa has been the greatest single international influence on America Negro students, he wrote. Frequently, I hear them say that if their African brothers can break their bonds of colonialism. I'm sorry, guys, I'm sleepy. Surely the American Negro can break the Jim Crow. If you guys need to know who that is, go look it up yourself. But so he was inspired to do his civil rights movement the peaceful way by Gandhi. So that's a fun fact. In 1960, King and his family moved to his native city of Atlanta, where he became co-pastor with his father of the Ebenezer Baptist Church. At this post, he developed most of his time to SCLC and the Civil Rights Movement, declaring that the psychological movement has come with the concentrated drive to support the sit-in demonstrations undertaken by local Black college students. In late October, he was arrested with 33 young people protesting segregation at the lunch counter in Atlanta department store. Charges were dropped, but King was sentenced to Redisville State Prison Farm on the pretext that he had violated his probation on a minor traffic offense committed several months earlier. The case assumed national proportions. The widespread concern over his safety, outraged at Georgia's floating of legal forms, and the failure of press Dwight Eisenhower to intervene. King was released upon the intercession of the Democratic presidential candidate John F. Kennedy, an action so widely publicized that it felt to have contributed substantially to Kennedy's slender election victory 8 days later. In the years of 1960 and 1965, King's influence reached its zenith. Handsome and doggedly determined, King quickly caught the attention of the news media, particularly the producers of the building medium of social change television. He understood the power of television to nationalize and internationalize the struggle of civil rights, and his well-publicized tactics of active nonviolence protest arose the devoted allegiance of many African Americans and liberal rights in all parts of the country, as well as support the administrations of Presidents Kennedy and Lyndon B. Johnson. But there were also notable failures, as in Albany, Georgia, 1961 through 62, when King and his colleagues failed to achieve their desegregation goals for public parks and other facilities. Okay, so that is a little bit of a snippet on Martin Luther King Jr., what he went through, the things that he was willing to do to desegregate the people. He really, really admired bringing people together, being able to be treated equally. He did have to suffer a number of things to get to that point. And even though he had a mental breakdown as a young teenager, he still grew up to be the man that he is, that we all know today, which is one of the most strategic, one of the most honorable, noble civil rights activists till this day. Okay, so thank you so much, Martin Luther King. I hope that you are resting in peace. Thank you for your service. If you guys want to take a look into that, go on ahead and look him up online. He was very handsome, in my opinion, and he lived a great life, but unfortunately, he did have a fatal end. So if you guys want to go in and get that tea on our Mr. Martin Luther King Jr., go ahead and head over and do that. Also, guys, another fun fact was I never knew about this situation that happened with his grandmother. If there are anybody seeing this today, if you're dealing with a loss of a loved one, or if you have dealt with anything that's caused you to have any mental problems, just know that Cassie King is praying for all of my babies, and I encourage you to pray as well. God is always listening. He is always watching. You do not have to be perfect. As you see, the Israelites was trifling, and God still made sure that they were straight. Okay, so you're going to be just as well as well. And I will be closing that out here. Again, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's your girl, Cassie King, and I am out.